Happy Tuesday, everyone. And welcome to this week's light stream message and just basic energetic update for the celestial bodies and mediumship for everything in the happening in the now and the cutting edge reality. That's a lot. However, I hope everybody survived the holidays. There was a lot of conversation last week about ways to kind of navigate those familiar spaces after they've become unfamiliar as people change over the years, even year by year, even day by day, etc., etc. You can definitely tell that people change, so do you. So once you are all in that same space, it can be volatile and also at the same time comforting, and then you get to catching up, and I hope you all enjoyed that. I think that's my point. So I hope you had a great holiday. Moving forward though, from this week to the next, as we move into this whole new age, new year, new me, new vibe, let it just come day by day. And before I even get into the actual messages from constellations and all that, I just want to say I hope everybody's taking time with themselves, staying hydrated, staying rested. Full 8 hours, you have no excuse. There's no way to really get the most out of your time unless you're putting the most into yourself. So definitely investing those hours of rest, recovery, which actually is what we're going to be talking about today. And I know I'm always kind of throwing it in there in the midst of everything happening, but the happening that is now is really the quiet before the storm and collecting your composure, collecting your thoughts, collecting your ideas, because the numerousness of everything and the imaginative energy, the creative energy right now is full force. So be very aware of overactive third eye syndrome, which is prophecy to the point where you are out of touch with current reality. I'm going to do this, 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 I'm going to do this. And you're doing so much of that posturing that nothing's actually taking root in the here and now. So it's important to really allocate some time for you, and whether that's going out with friends like I will be later on tonight or whether that's spending a night in and just sort of making your own meal and feeling your own vibe, spending it with your children, and just really appreciating your own space. That's really where we're at this week. And I hope that you don't get so lost in every area that you're going to be crushing it, because you're going to be crushing it. But don't get so caught up in the onslaught of creativity that you lose your rootedness in the here and now, because this is where action takes place. Moment by moment, conversation by conversation, we are always putting together something brand new, terrific, and amazing. But I think the best way I can kind of put that into perspective is somebody once told me an octopus on roller skates gets nowhere. So just make sure that you are focused on whatever you're going to achieve. And as these brilliant ideas start bubbling, they don't all deserve that sort of attention to detail. Then what you already know is going to really be the big payoff. So, I've already spent personally the better part of the day like, that would be a good idea, that would be a good idea, that would be a good idea. So again, it's in the air. This sort of bubbling of creative juices is definitely there, but again, apply it to what is worth the focus. Moving into the constellation side of things, we are in that very creative energy. So things to apply that to is musical aspirations, philosophical aspirations, Are you doing something for community in the sense of a drive or food gathering, food drive, or something like that is providing for others but also requires collaboration? Like, apply that creative energy there, and you won't regret the amount of effort that you're going to put in to yield better results from that endeavor. We are in the last quarter phase of the illumination, so it's a time to definitely relax, take a bath. The moon's low lit, so you don't really need to be out there and pushing. It's a time, like I said, to just sort of be in your own space. And even if that space is occupied by other people, like I'm going to go hang out with some friends. So that's a common space for me where I can kind of just be myself and let loose. So that's really what the energy that we're seeking out is where can we be ourselves, let loose, and just genuinely have a great time. Again, not balls to the wall, but in a space that we can comfortably express ourselves. Because of all of this posturing for the holiday, we need a little bit of respite. The moon is currently in Scorpio, so this is very underworld energy. It's the cool cat, it's the mysterious vibes. If you work with stones, like now is a great night to actually lay out some gridding and really pull, because stones come from the earth, and that whole underworld energy is made all the more potent by the moon in Scorpio. It's everything that we don't understand about the world, everything that we don't understand about the universe is the energy of Scorpio. So it's understanding that you don't understand everything. And kind of just being this entity in the sea of reality that's frequency, and I'm going to just take each moment as it comes and let everything happen around me. And that's the best way to do it, is when you approach it with, I don't even know how it's going to happen. I just trust that it's already happened for myself. And that's how you pull it in. It's a manifesting tip right there. So with this moon in Scorpio, we are also in the process of life and death. And it's not as take it as it is as that. You are in the process of letting go of the old reality. You're in the process of being birthed into a new reality. This is definitely a time to take on new perspectives, new paradigms. Taking a look at something and your projects and your relationships from the vantage of, I'm not who I used to be. And that is something so profound that I'm going to just say it again. I'm not who I used to be. You are not who you used to be. We have now the new eyes of the new age, that we can move forward with new ways and new ideas in a space that's going to just be open to all of that and give you the proper encouragement, support, and guiding light that we are going to have to need to move through into this next era of everything that we have postured in the back of our minds to bring it into the front of reality. You have it within you. So again, let go of the old, let go of the useless. This isn't people. This is actually internal work and accountability and things that you used to do, ways you used to cope, and all of that is gone. Like, I know that a lot of us, we really started turning in on ourselves during that time in quarantine or out of quarantine. And not to say that we don't know what the future holds, because I may be able to discern, I may be able to prophesize, but I'm not a psychic. I can't tell you who and what and where. I can just feel into the energy and say, this is what is, and these are the potentials. So tap into the potential that's here in front of you now. because that potential has been in your face for quite some time. But here in the thoughts, a lot of us get lost in the thoughts. So lost that all we ever do is think. And if you're caught constantly in the wheel of thinking, what are you doing? So again, you have to find your feet. You need to put them on the ground. Right now is perfect energy for that. Venus in Capricorn. I want to say Mercury in Capricorn. I think Mercury is in Sagittarius right now. No, Mercury is in Capricorn. So all of this Capricorn energy, the sun is in Capricorn. All of this is feet on the ground, nose to the grindstone. I'm doing. I'm showing action, 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 action. But again, with that Scorpio moon energy, it's very much, I could be doing this, I could be doing this, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be doing this is useless. Because Scorpio moon tears down illusion. And so a lot of us will feel like what we're doing is useless because the illusion of hard work and no payoff is a miserable life. However, with Capricorn thrown into the mix and so strongly, you can have that foresight into a future where the hard work is the end result. And that everything that you've done has been properly allocated to provide a foundation, under your feet foundation, to build up something really magnificent. And this is all because of this fertile potential that we are now standing in the face of. There's so much that is out there to achieve right now. So much. It's more than just, it's the new year, new me, new vibes. You are so new that you have literally severed the head of whoever you were this time last year. Has been literally, and I say head, it's a metaphor for the Godhead, the look at me, I am person. And you've now blossomed from that severing into the what could be. What could I be if I let go of who I am? Because I'm a badass. I'm a hard ass. I don't take no shit. I don't deal with none of that crap. Okay. But somebody else is softening to the new paradigm around them. And it's taking time to be there and culture the new foundling, energy of the next generation coming up. And is not teaching them to be hard and to be cut off. And is instead teaching them to cut themselves off from that which is hard and impenetrable. So there's almost a choosing of sides happening, but it is very light versus dark right now. And although Scorpio energy is underworld and challenged the paradigm and challenged the patriarchy and, F the government, at the same time, we are in this influx with Mars in Sagittarius that is actually beckoning you to establish that new paradigm. To establish that new paradigm. Mars in Sagittarius is actually quite juxtaposed to that deep dark of Scorpio energy. It's actually come to the light, my child, very Christ-like energy. And so you may want to utilize some of that old Christ-like gusto, not the old paradigm, not follow Jesus or you're going to burn in the embers of the under. That's not what I'm talking about. Whenever I meet Christians and the likes of those who follow Christianity, there's two. I'm gonna talk about it. There's two. There's the Christian who is so composed all the time that they wear the armor of God fully, but that armor is hollow. And I'm gonna say that again. Some of these Christians wear that armor of God, but it's completely hollow. There's nothing inside. Because who they are carries so much shame that all they can do is use that armor to brunt against the non-believers. Now, the other Christian, under that armor, and some of them don't even wear all of it because they want to be accessible. The true Christian actually puts down all of that armor and says, I came as I am to Christ Jesus. And I am now going to follow as a child. Do you see children? We're not talking about medieval times. We're talking about here and now. Do you see children in full-blown armor, ready to fight? No. Because that way is dead. Was there a time? Yes. But now that way is dead. And yes, in the Middle East, there's, children carrying guns. But again, this paradigm is putting an end to all of that. And so this new Christian, the actual Christian that carries the Christ light, is a brick in the house of God. Is the foundation that will welcome you into that Christ energy and say, you are loved, you are understood, and there's somebody who died for you. So those are the two contrasting Christians. One has no need for the armor, but can put it on, and the other one only wears the armor, but is completely hollow. So when you are looking at this new paradigm and being called back to this light with that Mars and Sagittarius energy, find your spiritual practices that carry the Christ light energy. Now, that word Christ light energy is also the same as carrying Zen Buddhist energy. That you are one with everything and everything is one. There's actually a really good book, The Dark Soul of the Night, of John the Baptist, where he's out in the wilderness and he's in love with one of the nuns. And they're out there in the wilderness, but he describes God as Denada. And it's so beautiful that he would use Denada as a way to describe a deity, because God is everything and God is of nothing. And so when you're out and you're in nature and you imagine the quietness of nature, that's God. That's also you. That's connectedness on a whole new branch of the light paradigm. And that's really what I'm trying to drive home here, is it's time to call back to the light during these next few weeks. Because the light is not the illusion. It's the falsehood that we use the light to cover the shadow of ourselves. Again, these light and dark paradigms. But that's where we're at this week. What are you using that light to cover? Maybe you should start working on that and using the light to help cast into yourself, to make sure that you're not hollow when you take that armor off. Whatever religious practice, whatever the not religious practice, your authentic self should show its worth without having to be on full display. Just look at how bright I shine. Okay, but what's under that? Again, accountability comes back to yourself and your actions. So, just something to kind of put into perspective. There's a very big duality happening right now. And so do not let the darkness, which is also a viable source of looking at things, because again, sometimes we get so grandiose in the light that we're blind to what's happening in the dark. So you have to balance it out. It's a very touch and go process, and I'm talking about it in very generic terms, but it's so important that you just retrieve that authenticity and always look back into yourself. Am I doing this for the right reasons? And how am I feeling that this will carry me through until I am truly feeling life? So there, I just said it. There's the illusion. You may not be feeling it now. But calling back to the light fills that cup within ourselves that feels void. So give yourself purpose, and a great way to give yourself purpose is to give yourself a spiritual practice. And I don't care if it's closing your eyes for 5 minutes, or going to church on Sunday, or developing, a saging ritual around your house, but give yourself some ritual and some spiritual practice these coming weeks. Because the real illusion is the life that you think is so grandiose in your mind. But you're not there yet. And even if your life is grandiose, I'm sure that you have all these other ideas to make it all the more so. But remember, you're not there yet. And so remember to really settle that foundation and make sure it's sturdy, so that whatever you build upon it doesn't just when things get shaky, because they will. All right, enough of that. And things will get shaky is the most doomsday you'll ever hear come out of my mouth. I have lived my whole life in contrast and compare with spirituality versus religion, and what comes out of my mouth is not just me coming out of my mouth. It's the message. It's light. It's dark. It's all of it, because we are all of it. We are of everything and we are of nothing. You should read Dark Night of the Soul, though. Eye-opener. Planets right now are, like I said, everything's really heavily involved in that Capricorn energy, which is grounded. So everything I just talked about, as much detail as I went into it, it was basically just for composure of your mind, because we are not really there for ourselves right now mentally. We're there for ourselves physically right now. It has everything to do with how I'm going to keep this roof over my head, how I'm going to feed these kids, how am I going to do this over the next few months, what's happening in the here and now, and the touchable and the tangible. And that's going to go on through the end of January as we enter Aquarius, which I know that Capricorn is that hard taskmaster, but that rootedness, that deep founded rootedness, is so necessary, because once we enter Aquarius, it is not just up in the clouds thinking. Aquarius energy is otherworldly. It's out in the universe thinking. That's why I love my Aquarius friends, because no matter how the world is, they seem to just be on their own planet. If you have an Aquarius friend, then you probably know what I'm talking about. But that's why I always keep a couple of Aquarians close to me, because I need that other planet. So when we look at my own rock, I can not like, okay, there's something else to look forward to after this. I'm sorry, that's a little bit of madness, but it's tea time, so. This week, you definitely want to be not putting everything on the table, but if there's a conversation that needs to be had with somebody about something that you've not been authentic about, I don't want to say straight out lying, but it could also be that. I'm a Capricorn. I'm sorry. So yeah, if you've been holding something and your team needs you to be 100 with them, you need to be 100 with your team. So you guys don't fall into some, quicksand later. So find a time this week to just say, this is 100% where I'm at, what I'm doing. Are you in or are you out? And that Capricorn energy is going to bless you with that quicksilver tongue to let them know, like, I'm letting you know. This is what I'm doing. This is where I'm heading. These are the plans. This is how the execution is going to take place. I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. And I know that you have these talents, these talents, and these talents, and these talents. Let's collaborate and do something. It's very much, that's my take on cleaning out the closet. It's not when I was 6 and this happened, and when I was 12 and that happened. No. Cleaning out the closet, you don't just keep junk in your closet. You keep brooms, you keep mops, you keep everything you're going to use to clean in a closet or a cabinet or whatever. So break out those cleaning things, not those old things. Throw those old things away. Make your mark, which is ending today. So again, that's that whole grandiose planning. It's all of us are composing ourselves to make that mark. I have my plans. If you're watching this, you probably have your plans. But again, you don't need to be watching this to have your own plans. Everybody's aspiring right now to be and leave their mark on this planet. I don't care if it's through social media, through, your own company that you're working up in, that your own school that you're heavily invested in, so be it academia, love, or business. You're working on something. I know you are, because the stars are telling me, yes, I have the thing that the world needs. That world is not necessarily a planet, but the entirety of my whole being and those who inhabited my world. So keep going. That's not a bad idea. And you have everything and everyone in your life that you need to make it happen. So make it happen. And also musical endeavors. All of it. I wanted to say like business, academia, relationships, but also, musicians out there. Oh my God. Prime right now. Prime if you're into music. Thank you to my friend for my ocarina too for Christmas. If you know who you are, you know who you are. It's so cool. So the transits of the day are emotional sensitivity, and you're feeling a certain way. So just again, this is not negatable. This is again that hard. It's hard for us to access that emotional side of us right now, because that's just, Capricorn is not emotional. Capricorn is very much fixed. We're the hard-headed. We'll throw blows over our ideas, not our feelings. Okay. I'm just saying, that's really what it is. Like, if you want to do us dirty and talk behind our backs, like, I don't see you. But if you come for something that I'm working on, oh no, it's over. No. Anyways. New beginnings is also in the air right now. So again, that's still prevalent. We're all pushing. Not other people away in pursuit of our goals. We're not stepping over people. We're bringing them with us. So bring them with you. If you have a team, get them on board and ask what they can do for the projects that you have brewing. And if your team is you, your husband, your wife, your kids, your partner, your dog and your cat, like, bring them with you. Like, there's nothing that says that, the next paradigm is only something that we can achieve. If you're spiritually awakened, and you're keen to vibrational awareness and you're not giving due diligence to also awaken the world around you, and that's not posting positive quotes, that's not to say that none of that is not valid, but I mean the people that you can speak to and are in your face. And if you're not having conversations like, hey, have you ever thought about, people's vibes? In today's day and age, 9 out of 10 people will say, yeah, I've heard about vibes, but I don't really understand what it's all about. Where 10 years ago, if I had a conversation with somebody about energy, it almost was like I was talking about a drug deal. Like, it was sketchy. And it was so against the grain of hard tacked reality. We were all barely becoming as connected as we are today, via social networking and getting used to talking to each other on these versus talking to each other like this. We are still, so pay attention to who's next to you. Because again, if they're in your arena and they're not vibrationally aware, then eventually you're going to start labeling them as such, and you're going to start saying, oh, they're a negative person, or they're definitely not woke. Well, what did you do to help them get woke? What did you do to help raise their vibration? Did you just sit there and watch them just flounder into oblivion? Again, accountability. Now, again, you also don't want to get stuck with people on repeat, and that's a whole other issue in and of itself that I've touched on before. You can give that inclination to somebody, and if they don't get the hit and they don't wise up, that's no longer on you. But you do owe it to your whole process of spiritual awakening to at least attempt to reach out a willful hand and say, this is how I got here. Because even planting that seed in a repetitious person will start to manifest later on in life for them. And it may not be 10 years, 20 years down the road for them. But so long as you planted that seed, then you've already done your due diligence. And you're helping to raise the frequency of the planet. Just that small act. So it's something to really think about. And that leads into feeling selfless, which is the energy tonight. I hope that you are feeling selfless. I hope that everything that you're doing includes everyone around you. And I hope that everyone around you feels included. And I hope that that makes sense, because if it doesn't, then there's some real conversations that need to happen within and with those around you. And whether they bring it up to you or you begin to manifest it opposed to them is going to be very telling later on. And I just hope it's a conversation that you have, that you provide the open arena for dialogue, because it's about leadership and creating value in people. And that's Capricorn energy, bona fide. It's boss energy. GOAT. It's our season, and I'm going to be reading all these next 4 or 5 messages. I'm like, it's Capricorn season. Moving forward, though, let's go ahead and get into this card for the week, and it's the Great Severing. Oh my gosh, how perfect. Were we talking about severing off the head of our old selves? Let that person die. And not in an actual sense. Who you used to be, and when people reach for who they used to be to feel alive again, and I used to be so fun, and then you try to be you who used to be so fun, guess what happens? The world that you've created for yourself is so vast and large that you've just created a very small box in the middle of a desert to occupy the space of who you used to be. Because that's how much impact that person has on the new reality. Very little. And a very little tight confined space. So rather than grasping for that past version of ourselves that worked then. Let down your guard and sever the life that worked then and start cooperating with what's working now. And that's softening to love. Not just outside of yourself, but that's internally, softening to your own body's needs. I need 8 hours of sleep. I need 2 days off, minimum. I need a half hour to just be in my own thoughts. That's softening to yourself. And by softening to yourself, you'll feel less bitter about softening to other people and their needs. So posture that within your own life. Again, the great severing, Mars energy, anger, conflict, softening to love. We have a picture of this beautiful canyon. And this beautiful canyon has this small ravine down at the bottom of it that's a life source. Even though it looks barren, it's beautiful. And there will be life there if you allow that stream to just take its course. But this open, rich earth, not woodland, not, any phase, sense, or archetype, raw, red earth. That's where we're at now. And we have the life that we need there through the center of it all to truly shape this new reality from its barren state, bare bones state. And the stars above are always guiding. So Star Watch. My ancestors were stargazers. It's in my indigenous blood to stargaze. It's also in my indigenous blood to conquer and crusade, but I don't do it to people. Because I may be Mexican, but with a last name like Navarro, somebody from Spain was involved eventually. And so again, we're faced with that paradigm. Who are you today? The real you. The bare earth version of yourself. Without creed, without intelligence. But what do you embody authentically? You're a life source, and it flows through you. And if you can remember that, meditate on that, you'll be amazed at what grows around that. Let go of the anger and soften to love. Because within you is the wisdom. You know where anger leads. It's in your blood. You know where anger leads. And if you watch Star Wars, you definitely know where anger leads. go ahead and take your own spin on this and really look at it and take a moment to just say, this is what it means to me, though, David. What do you see? It's definitely time for us to heal the past and let it go, never disregarding or invalidating it, because there's honor in what made us who we are today. And on that note, I hope you guys have a wonderful new year, and I think I'll be back before my birthday. However, Happy New Year and happy birthday to me. And I hope you guys have an awesome week and you do a little stargazing yourself.